is a spiritual deity. Freedom and liberty and justice shall fight for you. When you fight for freedom with all your soul, take it from me. This is Broadcasting Corporation of Biafra, BCB, the voice of the nation, the voice of the rising sun.
Special announcement from the leadership of Biafra government in exile.
Good evening, wonderful people of Biafra, and welcome to another Sunday broadcast coming to you from Broadcasting Corporation of Biafra, BCB. The agitation for the restoration of the independent state of Biafra is fundamentally built on the principles of non-violence. This is very key. It is important that everyone, both home and overseas, understand this. The restoration of our homeland is based on the principles of non-violence. Under no circumstances, therefore, should anyone genuinely involved, overtly or covertly, directly or indirectly, physically or spiritually, in this holy and noble project, take to violence, criminality, or intimidation or harassment in any shape or form. Biafra government in exile is all about the demonstration that the government and peoples of Biafra are still alive today. Even though we lost the so-called civil war, which in actual fact and in all intents and purposes was indeed a genocidal war. Because Nigeria attacked Biafra with the intent of exterminating our race from the face of the earth. For me, for people who are transparent and honest, that was genocide. A serious crime against humanity. Until today, no one has been held accountable. Even though most of the perpetrators of those crimes are still alive today and walking free. However, the remnants of Biafrans who did not die to war still exist and are now actively agitating for self-determination, which is their human right, to exit from a forced abusive union with Nigeria to be a free independent nation under God. Our purpose is to exit from a forceful, abusive union with Nigeria and to be a free, independent nation under God. In seeking for freedom and liberty, it is also the duty and responsibility of the government to do everything within its power and its ability to ensure that every Biafran, from Igbo to Ijaw, Ikwere to Ogoni, Ishan, Efik, Ogoja, Isoko, Igbo Akere, and many other ethnic nationalities within our territory, are protected from the evil of terrorism, banditry, and kidnapping. Every Biafra life matters. We shall not stand idly by and watch jihadists, bandits, terrorists inflict untold pain and anguish on our people. Therefore, using acceptable means of organizing local community and neighborhood security initiatives, we will mobilize our local communities to safeguard our land and deter the criminals, especially terrorist Fulani herdsmen, from kidnapping, killing, and raping our people. The cardinal focus of Biafra government in exile will remain to ensure that Biafra leaves Nigeria and become once again an independent, free, democratic, prosperous nation it was originally meant to be. BGIE is fully engaged in Biafra exit program through a non-violent approach. We believe that all indigenous peoples, wherever they may be, in southeast Nigeria, in north-central Nigeria, Middle Belt region, and indeed the southwestern part of Nigeria, have the right to self-determination, a right recognized internationally and contained in the United Nations Charter on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. Since 1966 especially, leading into the beginning of the war in 1967 until present, Biafrans, especially Ndibo, have been under severe marginalization, oppression, and systemic genocide. We shall continue to put pressure on the international community and continue to appeal to democratic nations who profess freedom, liberty, justice, and the pursuit of happiness, decency, and respect of human dignity, that the time is right to allow Biafrans to decide for themselves in a peaceful, United Nations supervised plebiscite where they want to belong, how they want to be governed, and who they want to associate with. It is a God-given right to every human being, to indigenous peoples all over the world. To get to our destination, however, it is important we all unite. We come together in diaspora and in the homeland to demonstrate our resolve to be free, to be prosperous, and to be a leading light in our continent. Because a city set on a hill cannot be hidden. Once again, I want to sound this pertinent warning, which I have done severally, that we either unite now or we die, and our dreams and hopes of future generations die with it. If we do not come together as a people, at home and in diaspora, the inevitable is bound to happen. These dangerous killer headsmen, bandits, and kidnappers, who are effectively the foot soldiers of extreme Islamic fundamentalism, the front line of jihad, will descend upon us in a final onslaught designed to annihilate us, take over our land, and impose Islamic religion forcefully on our children. We either unite and defend our territory or we die. It is that simple. The Nigerian government and her security forces have proven to be the key sponsors and supporters of these marauding invaders. The government of Buhari is complicit in the genocide that is going on in Biafra land, in Alibo in particular, and other areas in southern Nigeria, including Benue, TV land, and southern Kaduna. It is time for everyone to come together. Continuous divisions and duplications of efforts and resources, especially to fulfill personal and individualistic ambitions and materialism, will only set us further back and tear us apart from our desired destination. I therefore call on all traditional rulers to join this effort, for you are the custodians of the land. I equally call on all our bishops and church leaders, and all general overseers, all town union leaders, market union leaders, and all youth and men and women groups all over Biafra land. It is now time that we rise up and recognize that we are in danger of being exterminated. These terrorists, bandits, and kidnappers will not make any distinctions. They will not respect anyone, whether a clergy or traditional ruler, or even a politician. They will kill, maim, and destroy, because that is the mission of their Lord and Master, the devil. For the devil only comes but to steal, to kill, and to destroy. BGIE, together with partners in the struggle, are determined to defend our land, protect our people, and restore the independent state of Biafra, and protect her borders from terrorists and jihadists. We call for support from all and sundry. Freedom-loving countries of the world, civilized society, human rights groups, church leaders, traditional rulers, politicians, town and market unions, youths, and all men and women of good conscience. The governance structures we have put in place and continue to work on at home and in exile will enable us to be ready to deliver in a transparent, accountable, and effective fashion the freedom and security we desperately need. Every Biafran should now be very clear as to the danger on our very doorstep. The terrorist Fulanis are battle ready, and time is running out. We must unite, pool our resources together with the sole purpose of preventing another Biafra genocide, restore the nation of Biafra, and defend her territory. I want to thank you all, and may God bless you. I urge you to stay with us every Sunday from 4 p.m. and follow and like us on YouTube thereafter. May God bless and protect our land, and may He bless our veterans and grant our heroes eternal rest. Thank you, and God bless you.
This is BCB, the Broadcasting Corporation of Biafra, bringing you the news summaries for the week. In the news this week, from The Guardian, IPOB declares Tuesday sit at home over Kanu Buhari's visit to Owerri. Ohaneze to Buhari, Igbos need justice, equity, fairness. Nigeria's worsening security environment. Stay tuned for the details coming up shortly. From The Guardian, IPOB declares Tuesday sit-at-home over Kanu Buhari's visit to Owerri. The indigenous people of Biafra yesterday announced Tuesday, September the 13th, sit-at-home day and total lockdown in the southeast and south-south regions. It stated in a statement by its media and publicity secretary, Ima Powerful, that the civil action was necessary because its leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, is billed to appear in court on that day to continue his trial, while President Muhammadu Buhari would be visiting Imo State. Kanu has been in the custody of the Department of State Services, DSS, since last year. Powerful, who said that the court case was earlier slated for October 11th, but was brought forward to September 13th, added that a call for sit-at-home is to demonstrate our solidarity with our leader, who is bearing our yoke in detention for over a year now. He added, IPOB never issued a directive to Biafrans, but is simply implementing an existing order to lock down Biafra land any day that the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra will appear in court at Abuja. It was based on such agreements with our leader that informed the suspension of the initial Monday sit-at-home declared by IPOB leadership in August of 2021. It is imperative that our people understand this and go about their daily work and businesses on Monday and get prepared for Tuesday, September 13th, 2022, because Biafra land will be locked down completely. The statement added that the sit-at-home would be observed against the planned visit of President Muhammadu Buhari to Owerri, the Imo State capital, on that day. Buhari is billed to visit Imo State on September the 13th for the commissioning of the projects executed by Governor Hope Uzodimma. IPOB said it would be an insult to the people to receive him in Imo State on that day when several innocent Imo youths had allegedly been murdered by the government's security operatives. For our second news headline from the Vanguard, Ohaneze to Buhari, Igbos need justice, equity, and fairness. The Igbo Apex Social Cultural Organization, Ohaneze Ndi-Igbo, on Tuesday told President Muhammadu Buhari that the Igbo nation is committed to the Nigerian project and desires a country that provides the Southeast people the platform and opportunities to contribute their utmost best to the growth of Nigeria. The Ohaneze also told the president that Ndi-Igbo, both at home and in the diaspora, seek justice, equity, and fairness, adding that going and by their historical antecedents, they can claim to be the most federating unit in the country. The President General of Ohaneze Ndi-Igbo, Ambassador George Obiozo, stated this at the luncheon reception of President Muhammadu Buhari during his one-day official visit to Imo State. The Ohaneze president told the President, that insecurity and infrastructural decay were among the greatest challenges facing the zone. He said, Mr. President, I wish to reiterate that I speak on behalf of Ohaneze Ndi worldwide, both at home and in diaspora, that our people are committed to the Nigerian project, that we desire a country that provides us the platform and opportunities to contribute our utmost best to the growth of our fatherland. We seek justice, equity, and fairness, and going by our historical antecedents, we are in every part of Nigeria and therefore can claim to be the most federating unit in the country. Speaking further, Professor Bielsa said, it gives me great pleasure to once again welcome Mr. President to Owerri, the heartland of the Igbo nation. I recall on Tuesday, 9th of September 2021, in the same venue, I presented an address to His Excellency, Mr. President, on a wide range of issues of concern to our people and zone. So much that happened since your last visit to Imo State. It is important to inform Mr. President that although our people are doing their utmost best to confront the plethora of challenges, the one that is of the greatest importance for the Southeast political zone is the issue of security and infrastructure. And our last news headline from This Day Live: Nigeria's worsening security environment. The most insidious thing about the insecurity in which is currently blowing its ill wind all over Nigeria is that it is at once proving both relentless and remorseless. What started in pockets in parts of the country has since flared into a national problem, one which is poised to finally tip the country over the precipice. That which started in Borno State just over a decade ago as a cabinet of grumbles by Boko Haram has since echoed across parts of the country. Boko Haram has since splintered into different equally deadly groups. Emboldened by the successes of the group, bandits have mobilized themselves and successfully taken over communities in the northwest. Even in the region of the country that were considered relatively peaceful, non-state actors have borrowed a leaf out of the books of the terrorists. Together, they are constantly threatening to cause Nigeria to implode. On Sunday, September 11th, 2022, a sacrilegious attempt was made on the life of Mr. Ifeanyi Ubah, the senator representing Anambra South Senatorial District, in the National Assembly on the platform of the YPP. The attack happened in Enugu, in Enugu in Anambra State. According to reports, a number of security escorts and policemen accompanying the senator were killed. It appeared that the attack was a calculated attempt to snuff the life out of the senator. The shocking attack has again drawn sharp attention to the security situation in Anambra State. The early days in office of Mr. Charles Soludo, who was sworn in as governor on March 17, 2022, were marked by a blizzard of security breaches all over the state, culminating in the heinous beheading of a lawmaker and the brutal murder of Mrs. Hanifa Jubril and her 4 children. Multiple local government headquarters were also reduced to heaps of ashes as criminals were cut loose in the state. The governor has since settled down and has gone on to do a decent job of stabilizing the security situation in Anambra State. However, this attack confirms that the storm is far from over. In fact, it appears that the attackers have remained in the shadows all along and are now poised to re-emerge and continue their hail of deadly attacks on the good people of Anambra State. And that brings an end to the news summaries for the week. This is BCB, the Broadcasting Corporation of Biafra, saying thank you for listening and goodbye, friends.
Fellow Biafrans, this is Rose Ama, and this is BCB's opinion piece for today. We are looking at the so-called National Grazing Reserve Council bill. Several days ago, a document made its way into the public domain and into several social media platforms. It was a commentary on the Nigerian National Grazing Reserve Council bill written by a Dr. Austin Monye at UNIBEN. The document reveals a lot about the government's attempt to grab or steal land from indigenous people under the guise of a National Grazing Reserve bill. BCB will read Dr. Monye's essay in its entirety with the hope that it will further underscore the importance of resisting any attempt by the federal government of Nigeria to alienate Biafrans and other indigenous peoples from their ancestral lands. So here is Dr. Monye's piece. It reads, I decided to read a copy of the National Grazing Reserve Council bill, and I was surprised at what I saw. The bill creates a council to be chaired by a chairman to be appointed by the president. The council shall have the power to take your land anywhere the land is located in the country, and then pay you compensation. Your land, when taken, shall be assigned to herdsmen who shall use your land for grazing purposes. They shall bring cows to the land, and you shall lose the land permanently to those Fulani cattlemen. If you feel that the council was not right to take your land, you can go to court. But before you go to court, you must first of all notify the Federal Attorney General of your intention to sue the council. Apart from notifying, you must get the consent and authority of the Federal Attorney General before you can sue. So that means that if the Attorney General refuses to give his consent to the suit, you have lost your land forever to the herdsmen. And this law, when passed, shall apply to the whole country. So it means that your land in the village or anywhere is not safe. The National Grazing Reserve Council would have the power to take away your land from you anytime they want and pay you whatever they want as compensation, even when you don't want to sell. And remember that for you to get compensation, you must have documents showing or proving ownership. So I think that we all in the Southwest, South-South, and Southeast must rise up and reject this bill. We must do all things to force our National Assembly members from passing that bill into law. That bill is a deliberate attempt to take our lands and hand the land over to the Fulani cattlemen, since it is only the Fulanis that rear cattle in Nigeria. That law, when passed, shall fulfill the directive of Uthman Danfodio and other northern leaders to take over other parts of Nigeria. I implore you to use all available means to implore your senator and representatives not to pass that law. That law will destroy Nigeria. All over the world, ranches are established and used to rear cattle. The farmers buy land and put their cattle there. There is no country where the land of the citizens are compulsorily acquired and given to others. This is evil. This is evil and designed to favor the Fulanis, where the president comes from. We must resist the passage of that bill into law to save Nigeria and to protect our future generations. We must defend our land and protect our children. And so the source says it is Dr. Austin Monye at UNIBEN. Okay, so you've heard it. This is a bill proposed to safeguard land for Fulani cattle herdsmen. It doesn't protect you as an indigenous person. It doesn't protect you as the owner of the land. In fact, if anything, it alienates you from your land. If the only way you can get your land back is actually by going basically to ask for permission to sue in order to get your land, you've lost already. This bill says, if this bill once passed says you have absolutely no claim to your land. And bear in mind that a lot of people inherited land through their ancestors. And that in many cases, these people do not have documentation for the land, other than the fact that there is a long, long history of cultivating that land from one generation to another. In such cases, therefore, if you can't prove that the land belongs to you, just think about it. Anybody can step in and claim your land. BCB has been warning against this for a long time. In several of our programs, we have warned, we have cautioned our people to stop ceding or selling their lands to cattle herdsmen or renting their lands to cattle herdsmen. Because once you rent your land or sell that land, it's gone. These people need land for their cattle. It's the only thing they do. They travel from the north to the south. There is no more land in the north for them to raise their cattle because grazing lands in the north have been devastated as the desert encroaches south. So they're heading south into our agricultural lands to raise cattle. If those lands disappear, where are you going to grow the food that will sustain your family, that will sustain your communities, that will sustain you? Biafrans, this is particularly important. And in fact, regardless of how much these people claim that all they want is to graze cattle in our regions, this is part of a larger scheme to move Islam from the north to the south, to dip the Quran, as they said, in the Atlantic. We will stop here for today. We want you to contemplate this. We'll return to this particular piece next time. We'll look again at this issue of land grabbing as it affects our people. We leave you here. Biafrans, wake up. This is Rosama, and this is BCB. We hope you'll join us again at our next program. Like us on Facebook, on Twitter, and on YouTube. And we look forward to hearing from you. We welcome all voices. We thank those who have supported us, from BGIE, the Biafran Government in Exile, to IPOB and Autopilot, to Bilie Human Rights Initiative, and all other liberation fighters who have sustained this struggle for a free and peaceful Biafra. We also draw attention to the continued imprisonment of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, whose human rights are being violated every day. We call on the Nigerian government to release him unconditionally and to restore his human rights and dignity. It is time. Calling for freedom and justice for your people who are being oppressed is not a crime. There is no reason to continue to hold Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in prison. Peace to you all, Biafrans, and to our listeners.
Rising soul, hey, rising soul, yeah. Biafra is the only hope of Africa. Biafra is the only hope of Africa. Believe it or leave it, Biafra is the only hope of Africa. We've been crying, the world claim not to hear. And we've been lamenting, the world claim not to hear. Our tears flow, the world claim not to see. And our blood flow, the world claim not to see. This is a crime, oh no, against humanity, oh no, yeah, this is a crime. Eritrea spoke out, they were given independence. South Sudan spoke, they were given independence. Namibia spoke out, they were given independence. Give me the reason my people got to be neglected. Give me the reason my people got to be rejected. Give me the reason our freedom got to be a crime. Give me the reason our own freedom got to be denied. Hey, Biafra is the only hope of Africa. I tell you what, Biafra is the only hope of Africa. Hey, Biafra is the only hope of Africa. Believe it or leave it. Oh no. Whoa. That was physical battle, and we're betrayed by the people them trust. Today's heroes are fighting. This is a spiritual battle. Let us unite and give Biafra a meaning. If we don't take time, we can't remain in this slavery. No freedom of speech, no freedom of expression, no freedom of worship, no freedom of religion. Justice denied, oh no, of my own very people. Hey, justice denied, hey, on the rising sun. Hey, justice denied. Oh, my freedom fighter, yeah. wanna be independent. War is so bad when people wanna be alone. This is the time we will make it known to the world. Hey, Biafra is the only hope of Africa. Biafra is the only hope of Africa. Biafra is the only hope of Africa. I tell you what, Biafra is the only hope of Africa. Hospitality, positive, education, positive, economic, positive, hospitality. I tell you what, positive. Biafra is the only hope of Africa. Biafra is the only hope of Africans. I tell you what, Biafra is the only hope of Africa. Hey, Biafra is the only hope of Africa. My people will cry. Biafrans will cry. My people are suffering. Oh, Biafrans cry.
Thank you for listening to us today. Join us next time for news, cultural, and educational programs. This is the Broadcasting Corporation of Biafra, BCB.
Hail to